I'll tell you right now who cannot do an okay job this Sunday. Joe Burrow of the Bengals or Matthew Stafford from the Lions and now with the Rams. That's amazing. Can you imagine if the Rams win it and Matthew Stafford, after all of those years being in that dysfunctional, abusive relationship that is being the quarterback of the Detroit Lions? I mean, who's kidding who? That is how many ex-boyfriends did that fucking bitch of a team leave laying on the side of the road? I'm trying to think of all. Greg Landry, Eric Hipple, all the way through Joey Harrington. Matthew Stafford has been he was the general. He's probably the best Lions quarterback they've had since, what's his face there? I got his book right here. Heart of a Lion, Bobby Lane. Bobby Lane, yeah. I would say that. Let me look this shit up. The history of Lions quarterbacks, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of fucking real estate agents. Whatever people do after you're the quarterback of the fucking Detroit Lions. Now, I'm wondering, as a Lions fan, you got to be rooting for Matthew Stafford because he did put the time in. But then also, you kind of got to be rooting against him because it's just QB history. If he wins it the very next year, it's going to kind of confirm. It's going to kind of confirm what you always thought, that there's just something wrong with your franchise. All right. Since the great days of Bobby Lane, 1950, 51, all the way through 57, and then he joined the Steelers, I believe. We're going to get into Greg Landry. Greg Landry made it from 71 to 74. And Joe Reed, I guess he was all of a sudden third string. They blamed him, and then all right, we're just fucking with you. Brought him back, 76, 77. Gary Danielson. All right, those years, couple years. Eric Hipple, Gary Danielson, back and forth. No one wanted to say it was the Lions' fault. They switched. That was right through 86. And then there was a guy, Chuck Long. They had a guy, Rusty. Give Rusty a shot. Rusty Hilger. And then, oh, God, poor Rodney Pete coming out of USC. Da 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 ba 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 to bum bum ba bum bum. The fucking Lions. He was there from 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. The Arsenio Hall show years, I believe. No, he was a little bit up there. The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson was 92. But I think Arsenio was still around. Those years. The run and gun of the Bills, losing every year. Arsenio Hall coming after Johnny Carson. Just putting this all in historical perspective with Cape Fear, I think, was a big movie back then. Natural Born History. Scott Mitchell, then 94 to fucking 97. Charlie Batch. Sounds like Yak. Charlie Yak. Ty Detmer was in there, too. Honorable mention. Joey Harrington, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. Good day, sir. Jeff Garcia, backup. Somehow he got out of there and went to San Francisco. John Kitna, lasted 2 years. Dan Orlovsky. And then in 2009, along came a man named Matthew Stafford, who had the longest tenure as a quarterback. He started for the Lions, 2009. 2010, Sean Hill got the starting job, and Matthew Stafford was backup. He played. Then Stafford comes back, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 10 straight seasons. He must own every fucking record. Bobby Lane 50, 51 was 8 seasons. No, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that is 8 seasons. Wow. I don't know. Matthew Stafford, is he going to do it on Sunday? I'll tell you right now, the key to the game's going to be that offensive line. Can they protect Joe Burrow against the down four of the fucking Rams? What do you guys think? Do you think the golden boy, Joe Burrow, comes in and rightfully claims what should have been the Bengals rather than the 49ers all throughout the 80s? That should have been Bill Walsh on their sideline coaching. But the great Paul Brown, the only mistake he made turned out to be the biggest mistake ever for those Cincinnati Bengals. He thought Bill Walsh did not have the mental stability to be a head coach in the NFL, and he badmouthed him around the league, and he let him go. Well, Bill just left. There was nothing else he could do. And he worked his way back into a head coaching job with the San Francisco 49ers. And he applied that offense that he came up with the Cincinnati Bengals. What became known as the West Coast offense was actually created in Cincinnati. I know I've said this before, but people don't listen every week. But now you know the rest of the story. And how ironic that 2 of their 4 Super Bowl victories of the 49ers in the 1980s, the team of the 80s, were against those Cincinnati Bengals. Da 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 da, boo-doo, boo-doo. I got to root for the Bengals. I like the Rams. This is one of these Super Bowls you're just going to be happy for people. You know, I'll be happy for Matthew Stafford. I won't be happy for LA fans. They're just not informed enough. They really are. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is so hard to find an informed Los Angeles fan. I don't know why. It's great when you do. Old school Laker fans from back at the Forum, people who grew up watching the Dodgers, hating the Yankees in the late 70s. I love meeting LA fans like that, but it is just so fucking rare. I don't know, Bill. Maybe it's the company you keep. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, if you critique their team, they just go, hater. It just never gets into a good sports debate. Your team are bitches. It's like, all right, I guess that's what it is. Okay. Anyway, and the funny thing is, what is funny, Bill? Has anything been funny so far in this podcast as you fucking list every goddamn jerk-off that played quarterback for the Rams for the last 50 years? Hey, I'm into that shit. If you didn't listen to this podcast, would you ever know about Marlon Briscoe? Huh? You want to talk about the modern-day fucking NFL, a guy who would have changed the game if they let him. Marlon Briscoe with the Denver Broncos. First starting black quarterback in the NFL. And you look at it, you're seeing Randall Cunningham and all of these other guys fucking 20-something years later. You're seeing him play in that style right then and there. You're seeing him be successful. And what did they do? They drafted a white guy. And made Marlon Briscoe a wide receiver. Another. This is like a segment that I'm going to make. Or maybe you guys probably know more about this shit than I do. This segment is called Horrific Fuck-Ups in the NFL. I'll start with 2. The Denver Broncos turning Marlon Briscoe into a wide receiver and shipping him off to Buffalo rather than keeping him as quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Number 2. The Cincinnati Bengals passing over the great Bill Walsh, who had already invented the West Coast, what would become known as the West Coast offense because of Bill Parcells coining it in 1985 when his Giants beat the 49ers in the playoffs, and he said, what do you think of that West Coast offense now? Thus giving credit that offense was created in San Francisco. And I guarantee you, there's a bunch of 49er fans, you know, walking around with their winter jackets on in January because of that weird weather up there. In July. Did I ever tell you that time I took a vacation to San Francisco in the summertime? Like 20 years ago. with my girlfriend at the time, and we both wore like summer clothes. And we landed in Oakland because it was cheaper, and we took the BART over, and it was like the summer. And we were all excited. This is going to be great. San Francisco, we're going to have a great time. And we took the BART to the subway, and we came up out of the ground, and the only thing more shocking than how fucking cold it was the sheer amount of homeless people and the level of homeless that they had, and just the way they looked. Like they look like 49ers. They look like miners. Like Boxcar Willie looking for, like, jump on a rail car, like fucking beards, and it looked like you were watching a bad Hollywood movie and they needed like a homeless guy and they just like overly make the person homeless. And we froze our asses off and we couldn't figure out what the fucking deal was. So we immediately go out and buy a bunch of shit, sweatshirts that say San Francisco on them, with the local fucking whatever. And then we went inland at one point to go to like Magic Mountain or something like that, some amusement park. And then all of a sudden it was hot as balls the second we got in there. Bill, does this story have an ending? Not really. Does it have a point? Yeah, they got weird weather out there. Anyway. Horrific fuck-ups in sports. I can tell you right now, the Celtics, when we had Red Auerbach, we're always on the good end of that. The Robert Parrish trade, whatever the fuck we did to get Kevin McHale and Larry Bird's rights, we always seem to come out on top with moves like that. I mean, Dallas Cowboys, the Minnesota Vikings, it's obviously the Herschel Walker trade. That was one of the great fucking... I can't even say it was great. I just feel like Jimmy Johnson the entire time was like, there's no way they're going to sign this deal. There's no way. Let me make sure I get this fucking deal right. What happened with the Herschel Walker trade was the Minnesota Vikings agreed to give, as far as I remember, they agreed to give all like these just fucking regular guys up, like 10 regular guys up for Herschel Walker. So they thought that they were getting a steal. But there was something in there that if Jimmy cut any of the players in the trade, he would get draft picks from the Vikings. So the second they signed it, he goes, I'm going to cut all those players. They're like, you wouldn't fucking do that. And they were like, yeah. And he took all the Vikings draft picks and had all the Cowboys, and that's how they built. Here we go. Herschel Walker trade was the largest player trade in the history of the National Football League. The deal on October 12th, 1989, centered on sending running back Herschel Walker from the Dallas Cowboys to the Minnesota Vikings, including Walker and a transaction involving the San Diego Chargers. The trade involved 18 players and draft picks. At the time of the deal, the Cowboys were one of the worst teams in the league. The team finished the 1989 season with its worst post-merger record of 1-15, trading away their best player, while the Vikings believed that Walker was the missing piece they needed to make a Super Bowl run. Thus, Minnesota originally felt that they got the better end of the deal. The Cowboys used the draft picks acquired in this trade to get players they needed to help them win 3 Super Bowls. Meanwhile, the Vikings did not make a Super Bowl appearance with Walker. They kind of glossed over it here. Okay, the Vikings immediately assumed they got the better, not knowing at the time that head coach Jimmy Johnson was interested only in the draft pick and not the players. At a press conference after the trade, Johnson's bragged that he bragged right after he committed the great train robbery, but was criticized by various sports writers, such as Randy Galloway of the Dallas Morning News. Johnson waived Stewart in November of 1989, then told coaches to not start Solomon, Howard, or Holt, signaling to the rest of the league his intention to claim the draft picks. Viking general manager Mike Lynn eventually made another deal, letting the Cowboys keep the 3 players and all the conditional picks. Wait a second. All right, in the original proposal, Dallas agreed to give Herschel Walker and 3 draft picks to Minnesota. In exchange, the Cowboys would get from the Vikings 5 players, 3 draft picks, and conditional picks attached to each of those 5 players should they be cut by the Dallas Cowboys before February 1990. So that's what he did. He got 3 draft picks in 5 players. He cut those 5 players, so he got 8 draft picks, plus all the picks that the Cowboys had. One of those players that Minnesota agreed to send to Dallas, Darren Nelson, refused to report to the Cowboys. Dallas then agreed to trade Nelson to the San Diego Chargers for their 5th-round pick in 1990, which the Cowboys promptly sent to the Vikings. In total, this revised trade involved 18 players and draft picks. Okay, so the Cowboys got linebacker Jesse Solomon, linebacker David Howard, Isaac Holt, Alex Stewart, a first-round pick in 1990, second-round pick in 1990, sixth-round pick 1990, Minnesota's first-round pick in 91, Minnesota's second-round pick in 91, Minnesota's first-round pick in 92, second-round pick in 92, Minnesota's third-round pick in 92. And all of those last ones, okay, the first-round pick in 91, condition on cutting Solomon, which he did. Second round, conditional on cutting Howard, which he did. First round pick in 92, conditional on cutting Holt, he did. You get the picture. Condition met by trading Nelson and condition cutting Stewart. So he just cut all of them, and he got fucking 8 fucking draft picks, plus all the draft picks they had from being, one of the shittier teams in the league. And what did he do with those draft picks? I think players selected. Let's see. Pick acquired by Minnesota. Dallas' third-round pick, and they just picked all bums. End result, 3 Super Bowl wins. Here's the end result, what they got. They got Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, Clayton Holmes, Kevin Smith, Darren Woodson. Well, I thought they got more guys than that. I mean, well, Russell Maryland was, and I heard of that guy. And Darren Woodson. Emmitt Smith, that was a huge one. All right, whatever. All I know is that they ended up winning fucking 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and the Vikings have yet to win a Super Bowl. And that concludes